Okay, today we're going to try and do the setup of the servo game on this Technics SL-5. So let's start. Now, there's a couple of things we need to do. Obviously, I'm going to see if we can try and get most of this on camera. And maybe, you know, just give you some different angles from last time. So just using a bit of basically painter's tape, we're just going to try and tape down this switch if we can. And maybe also the lid switch here, if we can get that to stay on. Just see if we can get this to start now. So we'll just press start. I've already turned it on, press start. Okay, it spins around. And it's moving in about halfway because what we've done is we've fooled it into thinking that there's only like a single on there. And there we go, look at that. That's pretty good. So if we tap that in, is it advancing? Okay, I remember it had that sort of funny behaviour, like you do it twice and then it sends itself back. Anyway, that's not a worry at this point. So what we want to do, I'll just turn the unit off. Hopefully this is going to be in shot when we lift it up. Now I was thinking about making, you know, like a jig to sit this on, but basically I just don't really have space to store a jig once I've actually made it. Not that it's hard necessarily to make, but I just got nowhere to put it. So what we'll do is we set the multimeter onto volts. Now I've got to try and remember. Okay, so we need to hook it up to pin 3, which is 1, 2, 3. There's pin 3, and then earth. And you know, this serves quite well as an earth, so we'll use that. I'll put something just under there, just so that we can keep this up and keep those wires connected. Now let's just make sure that we've got everything where we want it so that we can see. We probably need to get this. I think I'll just have to, I think that's time that goes off, doesn't it? Basically we'll look at that when we need to. So first things first, let's press start. And I'll press queuing too, just so that it doesn't drop the tone on. Oh, it did anyway. Okay, I was too slow with that. So we've got a reading right now of 0.25. Now what we need to do is move this all the way over, and we should get a reading of 3.6 volts, and we don't. We get 2.35. So we have a variable resistor poking. I think if we poke through there, we'll get to it. The right tool for the job. Let's stick that in. See if we can adjust that now. Okay, we've got 3.2. Can we see that? Okay, 3.2, 3.4. All right, 3.59. Okay, let's go with that. That's close enough, isn't it? Let's just check that against this over there. 3.62. Maybe just knock that down a little bit now. Three 3.58, 3.7, with it is it's not actually moving very smoothly. 3.58. 3.59. 3.6. 3.4. I'm not sure whether we actually need to be that precise with it, but you know, as close as I can get it. And this is the frustration of this, is that it's very fiddly just to get it just so. Especially when you're just chasing these little bits and they only give you these rotten variable resistors to do it with. If they had the multi-turns, it would be so much nicer. Okay, 3.59. Alright, good enough. So then, what we need to do then is center this, and we should have 1.8 volts. We don't, we have 0.02. So we need to adjust this board. And to do that, I think we actually need to loosen him up a bit. So we need to possibly loosen this just a bit. Okay, something's happened with this camera. I've recorded this twice now, or so I thought. I'm watching it, it is recording. So anyway, let's see how we go. I've actually done the adjustment. I did film it, or I thought I filmed it, but the camera was in a blank screen when I got to the end. Anyway, let's press start. Okay, it moves along about to the middle, or at least where a single would be, and then it starts to drop the arm. So let's press queuing there. Now, where did I get it? I got it to 1.822, which is, I think, close enough. What I was trying to say in the bits that I somehow don't have now, this screw seems to be the key. That needs to be loose enough to allow this board to move. I do think it pays just to back this one off a bit, because I have a feeling it's actually pivoting on that one. Because as you can see, these screws here are actually within cutouts, and they actually just hold the plastics and other bits on. Okay, so back it off a little bit, back this one off a little bit more, and I use down here, just give it a little nudge either way to adjust that voltage until you get the voltage right. Now, one thing I noticed, and I wanted to mention, is when you do this screw up, it has a tendency to move the board ever so slightly, and it'll bump the voltage up. So it would probably actually put that near 1.9 or 1.88. Anyway, a little bit out of spec. So what I would suggest is, when you are doing a little nudging, get your meter to about 1.75, and when you'll find that when you tighten that screw up, it'll probably be around 1.8. It'll be pretty close anyway. I don't think we need to worry about getting it, that precise. I don't think I did on the other one. I think we're, within that sort of ballpark, and it's been working fine. So, good enough. So they're the main things I wanted to mention for this. And if we press queuing, drop that arm again, and press stop, that should go all the way back. So in fact, there's only one more thing that we want to do with this, and that is we want to actually set the speed. That will be a video on its own, because I think it's a simple procedure, and we can split these. I want to split these videos up as much as we can. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to be happy that all of this now is done. This is working correctly. I had to buy a new belt yesterday. In case you're wondering, the diameter was, or they sell the belts here by diameter of, you know, the circle that they make. 22mm seems to be correct. I originally thought I needed 25 based on the old belt, but 25 is just far too loose. It won't take much for that to come undone. So 22, and it's about 0.9 or 1mm square. So there, yeah, that's it. What I'll do is, it's not really interesting to see me screwing bits and pieces of plastic on. I've covered the traps of putting these bits of plastic on, how you've got to, you know, position things and get everything just right. So you can watch that. I think that was probably the first video in this series, and you can have a look at that, and that will tell you basically what you need to look out for. Again, not a lot of point in doing it all again. It's you know, it's not exciting, and this whole thing's getting long enough, so let's leave it there. Okay, just a quick bit of bonus. As you can see, I've put the case back on. So basically what you've got to do, you've got to put the case on. You've got 1, 2 and 3 screws there, plus the 2 at the side. They were looking a little bit rusty, so I just gave them a clean with a bronze brush, and they look quite good. Then put this on, taking note of all the bits and pieces that you have to do. Basically, you know, you've got to get that in, you've got to get the wires running in the right spot in there. I'm pretty sure that's been covered elsewhere. And then you put this one on, and that's it. It looks, you know, now that looks right. It's actually looking like we're nearly finished, which we are. Now there's one other thing that I probably should mention. The service manual does talk about it. I haven't bothered at this point. Actually not on either of these two machines. But there is actually a way to set the tone arm height from its, you know, resting position to the record. And it's basically this screw here. You basically screw that in or screw that out. Now I don't, well, I haven't found a need to do that, but that's how you do it if you need to do it. And there's a measurement somewhere. Maybe I'll add that to the video description. But of course, you know, just download the service manual, and that'll give you the information as well. So there we go. Next thing to do is we'll set the speed on this, and we'll do that using my little Arduino thingamajig. And just so you have it, there's your 2 VRs for that. So there's a, I can't read that from here, I'm not sure which one's which, but anyway, one of those is for 33, one of them's for 45. I think it says you've got to do the 45 first and then the 33. But anyway, we'll cover that in another video. That'll be a quick one, I think, hopefully. But actually there's holes in the case, so you don't need the case open to do that. So basically what I'll do, the only extra thing I want to do now is these controls look pretty ordinary. So while the case is apart, I'm going to take those out, clean them up, put them back in, put the case on, and then we can do the adjustment with the case on. You can see then that you don't need to have the case off to do it. Pretty simple, right?
Radio Blitz.